Yay, we are live. We are live. We are live. It is just a little bit after 5 and it is Wednesday, and that means that it is time for Wednesday's Q&A. Thank you so much for joining me. If you jump onto the live, you can join me now from any of the locations. We are going live from the autism community, as well as Autistic and Thriving Facebook page, Autistic and Thriving Facebook group, and my Autistic and Thriving YouTube channel. So welcome, welcome. We do this every Wednesday at 5 p.m. or just about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all of your questions and concerns regarding anything autism and anything autistic. Hello. My name is Kathy Flynn. For those of you who do not know who I am a special ed teacher and behavior specialist and parent trainer. I work in New York City schools, and I've been working with children with autism. I've been working with autistic children and their families for the past 13 years. And so I have been a part of the autism community for just a few months now, and I am coming in with my expertise every Wednesday to answer questions. If anyone who has any concerns about anything at all, behaviors, daily living skills, communication, any of that, you can jump on the live and ask me, and I'm here to answer your questions. So, hey, I've got a Facebook user coming in. Sorry, my new platform, my StreamYard, I go live in multiple locations from this new software called StreamYard. And for some reason, it doesn't show everybody's name if you're coming in from Facebook. So let me know your name when you give me comments. And I'm going to try to see if I can find out like who everyone is, because if it comes up live as I go live, but it's easier if I'm just like reading the one stream of comments. So whoever's saying, hey, I bet it's Marissa, maybe, because she comes on every week for my lives. Thanks so much for supporting me. I have a couple users. Facebook user is the way they are describing you right now. I have a couple of Facebook people coming into the live. So let me know where you're coming in from, what your name is, and you can maybe attach your name to your comment. I'm sorry, I know that that's annoying, but because I'm going live in multiple locations, that's the way, for some reason, your names are not coming up. So I'm going to actually try to open up my groups and see if I can see the names coming in so that I can refer to you guys a little bit easier. In the meantime, you can let me know if you have any specific questions. Let me know how I'm coming in, how the sound is, and also, my audio, my video quality seems to be pretty good. Very good. So let me know if it's not coming through like it should be. For some reason, I'm not. Hi from Camden, Arkansas. Nice. Welcome from Arkansas. Let me know your name, and if you have a specific question, I'm going to try to go into my groups in the different spots so I can see. I don't know if it's going to let me like stream from every group right now. So I do have, hi, Samantha from Samantha from Leno Lakes, Minnesota. I hope that's Minnesota, right? MN. You sound and look good. Thanks, Samantha. Thanks for coming on to the live. I have some people watching. Awesome. Samantha, your name actually comes up. Let me know where you're coming in from. I'm feeling better this week. I bet that's Marissa. I apologize, guys. Last week I had an insane migraine that hit me really hard, like right before the live. And I didn't even have time to like go in and, I only went in and said basically the live's not happening, like literally right at 5 o'clock. So I apologize for those of you who were waiting for me to come in. And I'm here this week. Sometimes, a random thing might happen and I might not be able to get in, but thanks for asking how I'm feeling. I am doing much better this week. I got my water. Do have a little bit of a headache, but I got my water, so I'm trying to stay hydrated so I can come through the live. Hi from Massachusetts. Oh, I got some people from different parts of the U.S. coming in. That's awesome. I'm I think this is a pretty good time for everybody. Let me know, and if you come in from another part of the world. I know we have people in the autism community that come in from the UK and from even Australia, I think. So I don't know if this is a great time for them. I know this is like 5 hours later, so I think it's like 10 o'clock. Some people are posting in the Q&A. Let me see what's going on. I can also try to check from my phone. I apologize if I get a little distracted. I'm trying to just get a handle on the comments, and anyone who's already commenting, I guess I could just do it from my phone, right? That makes it easier than trying to do it all from the computer. Is this happening? Jen Newcomb. Yes, it is. We are live. Ben is asking if I'm live. I'm live now. So this is coming in. See, I can't see my lives pop up, so that's like part of the problem. I'm hoping they're actually coming through the different locations that they're supposed to be. I think last 2 weeks ago, it definitely came through all of the locations. So I'm hoping that, yay, you found me. Thank you. For those of you, other than Samantha, those of you who are coming in from Arkansas and Massachusetts and Marissa, just attach your name to your comments, because I'm going to have to try to figure out a better way to do this. But for right now, you're coming in as Facebook user. So you guys are all coming in as Facebook user except for Samantha. And that's frustrating for me. So, oh, wow, that's cool. Look at that. See, I can put your comments right up on the screen. See how it comes up, Facebook user? That's hi from Massachusetts. This person that just found me is that Jen. Welcome, Jen. I believe this is from my page. Oh, this is from the event. Yeah, sorry, Jen, you're coming in from the autism community. We are going live not in the event anymore. We're going live straight from the group. And I'm actually going live in multiple locations. So I'm going live from the autism community as well as from my own Facebook page, business page, and my Facebook group, as well as my YouTube channel. So this way I can kind of go live once a week from multiple locations, and I'm using StreamYard to do that. A few weeks back, I went live from inside the event itself, and I didn't have anyone show up and people couldn't find me. So I talked with admin, and I decided not to do that any longer. And I am now going live right from the Facebook group itself. So just so you guys know, in the future, if you're coming in from the autism community, I will post the event each week so that you're alerted to the event. But I will go live directly in the group itself instead of the event. Yeah. Hi, Jen. And Tina's here too. Hi, Tina. Thanks for jumping in. Let me know, guys. Let me know your questions so far. I think we're right on schedule with the comments are coming in without a lag right now, which is awesome. So that's really, really cool. And so let me know what your questions are. Think of your questions. Think of what's going on in your life that you really want to ask me about. Now's your chance to ask me. I only come in once a week for a Q&A. And as in the autism community, I am considered one of the experts in the group, because I've been working with the autistic community for over a decade, for 13 years now. So a little bit more about my background. I have worked with babies as young as 16 months old. And actually, that's when I did early intervention work. I did several years of early intervention work. For those of you who don't know what early intervention means in New York State, and I'm pretty sure this is all through the US, I'm not sure how this relates to the UK and other countries, but early intervention is any child under the age of 3. So however early they get diagnosed, up until the age of 3, they can get early intervention services. Usually those services are from, let me take you off now, hide. Okay, there we go, got my name back up there. So usually early intervention services we go in and work with children in daycare centers and in nursery schools and in the home directly. This is where we build a lot of language. We build the programs. We work on parent training with the parents, and we really just like start the child off. So my youngest student was 16 months old, and we worked on play skills. and we worked on, excuse me for a second, we worked on all kinds of language skills. I got her little tiny finger to point to what she wanted. And we started to slowly build communication. So I worked with a lot of babies under the age of 3. Most of them were 2 and 3 years old. That little one was my youngest, 16 months. I did a lot of preschool special ed as well. I worked with some children in preschools and also at home and when they got home from preschool. And I worked with a lot of elementary age students. And in fact, that's my most years of experience is working with elementary aged students. And I worked with some in agency settings as well as in the classroom as their full-time teacher. So I worked in the Deer Park School District, and now I'm currently in New York City Public Schools. So I work in District 75, which is our extremely special ed. I hope you guys see me like looking up. I'm looking right into the camera. I'm trying to look right into the camera. I've been working for District 75 for the past 5 years. This is my 5th year, so I'm already tenured in the system. And all of my years, I've been working in a 6-1-1 ratio, which serves usually either the most behavioral or the most sensory and the most academically needy students. So these are considered our most emergent students who are struggling the most globally across several domains. So physically, as well as communication. Many of them, the children and students that I've worked with, are nonverbal, and we've built communication systems for them with the help of our speech therapists. Many of them go to OT and PT, occupational therapy and physical therapy. We as a special ed teacher collaborate with all of those members of the team. And we also work on academic skills. We work on a lot of emergent skills that are literally toddler and preschool level skills. And sorry, I'm just trying to center myself a little bit. And then we build up on everything that they're ready for. So I had one parent who was ready to teach her daughter how to write letters. She wanted her to write her name, but she didn't even know her letters yet. In fact, the student wasn't even matching pictures and pointing out objects like find the cup. So we know the sequence of skills and how they should be acquired. And, it is our job to go through an assessment process to see exactly what your child is ready for and build programs to sequentially build on skills and work on the basic skills from the toddler preschool level and then go into an academic level once they're ready for it. And we have children who have some split skills. They have some skills in reading and math, but they also are still having difficulty with early problem-solving skills, visual perception skills, vocal imitation, motor imitation, those kinds of things. So, we build on all of that, and then we take them to the next level. Okay, let's see. My daughter is 24 with autism and sensory upload. This is coming in from Facebook user. Maybe you're referring to sensory overload. I'm not sure what you mean by sensory upload. Sensory processing disorder is very common with our children with autism. In fact, I'm so sorry. I keep saying children with autism. I am supposed to no longer say with autism anymore. I am now changing my platform to autistic and thriving. It is still new for me. Just so you know the background, we use person first language still in the school. And that means that we always use the person first and then we say their diagnosis after. However, that is super offensive to many people who are autistic, and I am now trying to change my language and say autistic children instead of children with autism. So if you hear me trip up on those words, that's because it's still new to me. This is something I've been taught as a teacher to use person first language, but now I am changing the way I speak when I come online in the online platforms because I don't want to be offensive at all to any autistic adults. And many moms and parents of autistic children may not be clued into this syntax yet, but this is, the preference now that we're supposed to be saying autistic, because if you have autism, it is a part of who you are. You're not a person separate from your autism. You are autistic as a person, and that shows the most respect And so that's the terms that we use. And that's the terms that we should be using all the time. So I will be correcting myself as I get used to the new language. Okay, so yes, you said sensory overload. Okay, so are you looking for any advice? Let me know what your daughter's currently using. And you said 24. Do you mean 24 years old or 24 months old? So, obviously there's a difference. So I just want to get a little bit more information from you that you're talking about your daughter. And let me know strategies that you're currently using to help her with her sensory overload. Typically, we refer to it as sensory processing disorder. Most autistic children have sensory processing disorder, and that means that they have some kind of concern. We have a concern with the way they process senses around in their environment. And so some children are sensory seekers, and they're actually looking for more sensory input to their bodies, and they feel more regulated when they get more sensory input. So that could be in the form of touch, like squeezes. That could also be in the form of taste, certain textures that they're looking for in their mouth. Anything that affects the senses. Hearing, they may be looking for certain sounds, certain ticking sounds. Maybe they make certain sounds that they really enjoy, so they'll keep making those sounds over and over again and be very repetitive about that. And then we have the sensory avoiders. That's just some examples. I can go on and on about sensory processing disorder. In fact, I will be having a course coming up in the summer regarding sensory processing disorder, and all of the strategies that can go into place to help with that. 24 years old and sensory overload. Okay, so that's very interesting. And let me know how she manages some of the things that you're currently doing to help her with her sensory overload, sensory processing disorder. Let me know if you feel that she's a sensory seeker or a sensory avoider, and if you're looking for any input or advice regarding that. So the other side of the coin, other than sensory seekers, is the sensory avoider. And that would be the child who is holding his ears or her ears, or screams and cries in public places because the noise is too loud. This is a lot of children and adults on the spectrum who need to go into the community, and a normal store can feel like 1,000 times louder than what we perceive it as. And that's just because they're tuned into very heightened sense of hearing, and it can be very overwhelming and overstimulating. And so many children and teens and adults can get very upset and overwhelmed in the community because of a very high sensitivity to sound. So we also have children who are texture aversive, and they don't want to touch certain things that are very wet or very bumpy or, feel slimy. So we have some students who love slime and putty, and I have other students who can't stand the touch of it at all. And they don't do well in our sensory carnivals when we have a sensory carnival in the school and we go to the different classrooms. We're not doing it now because of COVID, but in the past we've gone and set up sensory rooms where they can explore with their senses in multiple ways. And some students have a hard time with that. And actually, it's important to have them be a part of that exposure because we want them to become less aversive. We want them to start to be able to handle certain textures and dealing with certain senses. Okay, so that is important for them because, the more we can get them used to a certain sense. Okay. The more we can get them used to a certain sense, the better they can manage as they grow into adulthood. And of course, you can avoid certain senses, certain textures, certain sounds, but certain, other ones are unavoidable. And you don't want to be able to learn how to deal with them. I just realized that my logo is wrong up here in the corner. I have a new logo now. I have to change this on StreamYard. That's my old logo. So I just changed my logo as of this week. I have to change that. I'm no longer using the puzzle piece. And if those of you who want to ask me about that, you can. But just like person first language is not supposed to be used, it's offensive to many autistic adults. the puzzle piece is also very offensive to many, not to all, but to many. And so because I am trying to be inclusive, especially as I thought about it a lot more during this month. April is Autism Awareness Month and Autism Understanding and Acceptance Month. Then I chose to change my whole platform to Autistic and Thriving with a new logo. I have a really cool colorful logo with a triumphant child in the middle to show thriving. Okay, so let's see. Yes, Gemma has the question that you asked me earlier. I'm going to get to that question. I'm going to pull that up on my phone. Looking for advice. She hits herself dealing with stress. Okay, so seeing a therapist on the 29th to help her. Okay, well, yeah, that can be very stressful if she's hitting herself because she's overwhelmed. What you need to do is start to pinpoint some of the reasons why she's hitting herself, and it could be sensory overload. But if we don't know the specific sense that she's overwhelmed by, then it's hard to set up her environment accordingly. So, you need to maybe see, I don't know if she's verbal or not. If she's nonverbal, is she using some kind of communication system where she can communicate what is specifically bothering her in the environment? She may not be able to tell exactly why she's hitting herself, but she can tell you maybe what she likes and what she doesn't like. So if she doesn't like loud sound, she might be able to tell you that it sounds like she's a sensory avoider and that she's looking to avoid specific types of senses. So that could be the reason why she feels overwhelmed and is hitting herself. But we want to fine tune the different senses that are overwhelming for her so that, you can try to help her navigate her world a little bit better and help her slowly start to become less aversive to these senses that are overwhelming by slowly, getting her used to different sounds. She can, so a lot of kids with sound issues, right? We say for them to wear earplugs or even big headphones that help block out the sound around them, and then they can handle being in the community a little bit better. That's just one example of helping adapt to the environment when you're a sensory overloader. Hold on one second. Really, you're going to come right back in. Sorry, guys, that's my dog. Real life, my dog usually, she'll be scratching at the door any moment to come back in, but she's scratching at the door, and I don't want all that noise to go back into the house right now. Okay, let's see. Ticking watches or clock drove me crazy when I tried to sleep. Wow. Yeah, that's tricky. I actually, honestly, I'm the same way. When I can't have like any sound when I'm sleeping. If I fall asleep to the TV, I always wake back up because I'm very I wake up very easily. So I remember, and I'm not even sensory. I think we all are a little sensory in our own way, but more people more so than others. Someone who's tapping their leg up and down, they're looking for that input to their body, that like shaking input. People who fidget with their hands need some kind of texture in their hands to help feel calmer. That's a lot of us, right? We don't have to be autistic to have sensory processing disorder. So my son, in fact, is not autistic, but he has sensory processing disorder. He loves the texture of slime and putty. He loves to chew on things. And so we let him chew on gum all the time. And he's 12. I thought he was going to outgrow this chewing thing. He used to chew on his blanket. He was a thumb sucker. We got him. We got rid of the thumb at a late age. He was almost kindergarten by the time we were pushing his thumb out of his mouth. And he went to other replacement behaviors. And his replacement behavior was chewing on his shirt. And he had little holes in the top of the ring of his shirt, all of his shirts. And we tried chew toys and finally we said, what, let's let him chew gum. Let's let him try gum. And so gum worked really well. It helped him focus. It helped him get that input to his mouth that he was looking for. And he never grew out of that sensory need. So we still allow him to chew gum. We've contacted all his teachers to help him chew gum in school. That's an adaptation that he needs to help him feel calmer, to help him feel more regulated. So children who need to seek out input or avoid input in any way do so to help them feel calmer, to help them feel better. Okay, it's hard to describe how someone with sensory processing disorder feels, but you could just say in a lot of ways they feel completely overwhelmed. And, we want to help them as much as possible. So we need to find out like what they're aversive to or what they're looking to input on their bodies. Like some of my students love a tight squeeze and they love a weighted blanket on their bodies. And we give them the weighted blanket on and off so that they can help feel better. So those are just all different adaptations. And you have to kind of go through a little investigation first to kind of see what your kiddo needs, or however old they are. This woman's asking about her 24-year-old daughter. So anyway, back to the ticking clock. I actually slept at my older sister's house long time ago when I was a kid, and my older sister's grown. She's old enough to be my mom. I was adopted. And I was staying at her house, and she had this ticking clock in the living room where we slept, and I could not get to sleep. That thing kept me up the entire night. It was really bothering me because it was a pretty loud tick. So I'm the same way. When I'm trying to go to sleep, I need it very quiet. And so, that's definitely something that you would make. Some people need noise. Some people need white noise to help them sleep. So everybody's a little bit different. Okay. Let's see. This is coming from a different Facebook user. Sorry, I'm a little bit late on some of the comments. My daughter is 15 years old. She was diagnosed last month. We'll be having a neuro test in 2 weeks. She also has sensory overload, PTSD, anxiety, and you're still learning. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of diagnoses, and that's common for people to have, for children and teens and adults, to have what we call comorbidities. And that means there's more than one thing going on at one time. Children and teens that have anxiety and sensory overload, it's really important that when you go into the community and you want to have like a normal routine, that you are prepared for the community. So, anxiety is a big thing. I often tell parents to try hard putty, or a stress ball, because that's something that your child or your teen can, or an adult who's having trouble in the community, can squeeze and stretch and manipulate and focus on that instead of how overwhelming their environment is. That's something that is kind of a nice thing to manipulate in your hands when you need to deal with how anxious you feel. It might be very calming. So that's something that's really good. I mean, why did they create this stress ball? It's not just for children or adults with sensory processing disorder or autism or anxiety. It's for all of it, because it's a way to squeeze down on something and focus your hands on something other than what you're thinking about, so that if you focus your hands, you can then tune in and focus better on conversation, possibly. It also can relieve stress. And so that's something good that you might want to try. Some kind of stress ball. In fact, you can do a DIY stress ball out of balloons and sand. You can put sand inside of a balloon with a funnel, like a little funnel kitchen gadget, and you put sand in there or flour. And oftentimes you should double up the balloon, because balloons can be thin and then they can break easily, and then the flour or the sand goes everywhere. So you can put it into one balloon and then double up the balloon after you tie it at the end. So it's a doubled up balloon, and this way you can squeeze it really hard, and usually they last pretty good. But you can make all kinds of different stress balls out of balloons and different material inside. So that's a great DIY hack right there. She wears big headphones a lot. Okay, well, that's good. And if you don't really think that the big headphones are helping that much, although a lot of them are noise canceling now, which is excellent. It helps to really cancel out a lot of noise and helps children and teens who are very noise sensitive be in school and be, in the community. So there's nothing wrong with that. Some children may not want to wear something over their heads completely, or really cupping their ears. Maybe that's too much. And so I also suggest sometimes for some children and for parents to try this with their kiddos, is to just use like little earbuds, because they don't put as much pressure on your eardrum as the big headphones do. Okay, let's see. Angela says, hi, Angela, coming in you're coming in. So here that you're coming in from my YouTube channel, but I don't know if you're definitely coming in from the channel. I know, Angela, I think you came in the other week. She said she just bought her son Kinetic Sand, and he loves it. It's a great product. Yes, we love Kinetic Sand as well in the classroom because it creates way less of a mess, right? The sand sort of like sticks together, and it's like really cool. You can mold it and form it and push it and let it drip even. Like some kids just love to watch the sand like drip down and form into a little blob, you know. Slime does that really well too. I just bought a slime bucket for my classroom, and I have a student who absolutely loves it, and he loves to slam down on it, and he loves to like pile it up on top of itself and let it just watch it ooze down. So all of those things are really great. If you're not sure if your kiddo loves sensory input of this kind, try it out. Just explore. You know, go to Five Below, go to these dollar stores, go find things on Amazon, and just try it out, because honestly, things like that can go a long way. I literally just bought a bubble machine into my classroom as well. And fidget spinners are also great. Another Facebook user is saying fidget spinners. Those are really good. They spin around. Sometimes they're not so good. I have a student who actually loves to push out the gears inside the spinner and put them in his mouth. So spinners are not good for him. But I had a different student who loved to spin the spinner around his finger. Are on the table, you know, different spinning toys, light up toys are really great because they're just mesmerizing, right? So you can like look at kaleidoscopes on YouTube. You know, for some parents who are not sure, or therapists or teachers who are not sure what their kiddo loves and how to get them to want to listen to them, like what would be a good reinforcer, you always want to explore with all these different toys, musical toys, light up toys, sensory toys, because your child might not play with it in a typical way, and that's okay. If he or she loves it, loves to manipulate it, then it counts as a reinforcer, and you can use these reinforcers to build on skills and just to make them happy. Honestly, they take breaks with these sensory materials because they love them. I was just going to say before, I bought this new bubble machine in my classroom, and it was only $10 in Michael's, and it's this little, you know, bubble thing that you can hold with two handles, and you dip it in the bubble solution, and all of these bubbles just come pouring out of it when you click on the button. I have a student who is infatuated with the bubble machine right now. That's all he wants. So, you know, we're doing bubbles a couple times a day, and we're letting him request bubbles on his device. And so bubbles was something on his device already that he was not requesting. But now that he sees the bubble machine, he's like, bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. And so we do bubbles for a few minutes, and then we work on other things, and he can work for bubbles again. It is something that motivates him to get his work done because he knows he can get to something he absolutely loves. And you have to see his face when we let the machine go. I mean, I push the button, and I have video and picture of him lighting his face up like a Christmas tree. I mean, you'd think it was Christmas morning. He is in his glory with something so simple as bubble solution and a simple bubble machine gadget. So you can try some of these things at home, and they can work great. When you know what your child loves, you can use these as reinforcers to work on all kinds of skills, daily living skills, toilet training. Some of you were in here a few weeks back were saying you have a difficulty with toilet training. Reinforcement is the key. You want to have your child as motivated as possible to use the bathroom and go through all of the steps, right? Anything you want your child to work on, brushing his teeth, eating different textured foods, working on matching or sorting at the table, working on language, working on requesting. So we work, if your child is nonverbal, this Facebook user before said her child is very verbal. She wrote, she's verbal, she hits her face dealing when she is stressed. Okay. So whether your child is verbal or not, you want to use communication and build on that communication, right? So if they're nonverbal, you want to teach them a system. And in order to really, really practice that system, you have to use the things that they love. If they love cookies, I'm just going to use cookies as an example right now. If they love, love, love cookies, you can withhold the cookie and try to get them to say it, or try to get them to use a picture of a cookie that they give you as a picture exchange communication system. If they get access to their cookies all the time, then they're never going to request them. Okay, so it's super important that we set up communication in a very systematic way to motivate your kiddo to learn these skills and continue to practice them. Okay, so let's see. I don't have any other new comments just yet. I know I still have a few of you on. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I'm going to go into whoops, I'm in the wrong group. Hold on one second. Into a comment that was given to me earlier today. This is from a Facebook user in the autism community. I was actually notified about this comment from a couple of people, a few moderators in the group. So this is someone who says they have an adult friend who is waiting an ASD assessment, seen a therapist among other professionals, and been told no one can help them anymore until they have an assessment. So that's, the evaluation. This person is often low in mood and can be quick to anger when angry. They have punched holes in doors and walls. They also have been aggressive and violent towards their partner. I've always told them violence is not acceptable and fell out with them a few times about it. They agree violence is not acceptable, but says it is out of their control and they can't help it. I just want to know, can the violence they have displayed towards their partner really be out of their control and they genuinely cannot help it? So I'm going to say yes and no. I mean, this person who's an adult can be taught strategies, okay? All behaviors are a form of communication. So this person may feel very depressed or very down or very overwhelmed by whatever, right? And then they get aggressive. And it probably is because they weren't given strategies in their lifespan to help them cope with those feelings that they're having. And so they always turn to violence or aggression. And very sadly, perhaps someone did not work with them to work through that aggression and teach them that it's not okay to use violence in any way. So now that this person is an adult, that may be the turn to, that may be the thing that they go to because that's all they kind of know and always used to do as a child or as a teen. So sadly, a lot of people who become super overwhelmed become super impulsive, and they don't, and this is especially true for children, but if this is an adult in this situation, this may be because this person was never given the coping strategies as a child to work through whatever this is: anger, anxiety, depression, being sensory overloaded, being overwhelmed. Whatever this person is feeling, they don't know a different way to cope with this emotion. And so they turn to aggression instead. Of course, it's not the best way, and he or she may know that it's not the best way, but in the moment, he or she becomes so impulsive that there's no thinking that happens. There's no rational thinking at that moment. There's no, I'm going to think through this and choose something better for myself. I'm going to go punch a pillow because that's, less dangerous. They don't think ahead. So they turn to aggression and lash out, however way the aggression comes out: kicking, hitting, screaming, crying, throwing things, whatever happens. This could be someone who talked maybe very late and used aggression as a form of frustration for communication. I'm not sure. I don't know all of the background, but what I'm going to say is that sometimes aggression can happen. A lot of the time, and most of the time, aggression does happen because it's an impulsive reaction to how they're feeling. And they have not been taught skills to cope with that feeling in a better way. Not that they can't be taught these skills. Even as an adult, people who go to aggression can be taught coping skills when they're calm in many different ways: through social stories, through videos, through modeling, through movies. There's lots of different ways to show and model what you should do when you feel overwhelmed, or what you should do when you feel angry or anxious. Okay, so these things can be taught even as an adult, but they can't be taught when that person is in the moment, when that person is super impulsive and aggressive at the moment. The safest thing to do is for the partner or whoever it is that's asking, you can relay this message to the member who asked about this, and I can also reiterate it or just point them to the live at whatever minutes we're at right now. I'm not even sure our minute level. I think we're about 40 minutes in or so. So at a 40-minute timeline, Emma and I believe, I forget who else alerted me to this person's message. They can check out the live and fast forward it to this point. If it's the partner that needs to help this person or a friend you're looking out to help this person and get solutions, what you want to do in the moment is get that person as safe as possible. Okay, so that could be in a safe room or, with safe pillows, or what we do, like we kind of like corner our students off so that they can't throw furniture over or hurt us or hurt themselves, and they're kind of like in a safe area of the room. So you want to bring that person to a safe place in the house where they can't do damage to themselves or to anyone else until they're calm. Okay, so I have a student right now who throws things when he's really, really angry. He's 9. He's going to be turning 10 soon, this month, I think. And aggression is all he knows, and he's still working through communication. He's still a nonverbal student. So he has learned at home that if he aggresses towards mom or his older brother, they back off and leave him alone and let him have whatever he wants. That's a recipe for disaster because he's not been taught the coping mechanisms that he needs to deal with his issue. So we're working on why he throws things when he's angry. Well, one of the reasons is because he wants access to a favorite item. And when we go to take that favorite item away to work on skills, he's mad because if he doesn't want to give it up at that moment, he will get very upset and he'll start throwing things, and he will take anything really sharp. Well, we don't really have any really sharp things in the classroom anyway, but he'll take heavy, hard things and he'll chuck it right at you and aim literally right for your face. So we need to block him. We need to move him into an area where he doesn't have access to anything he can throw. And eventually, and it usually only takes a couple minutes, he pulls himself down to the floor and he cries and he throws, a little tantrum. And we back away from him and let him calm down. So you want to get that person to the safest place possible so that they can't aggress. And they have to learn how to calm down in the moment. And you could maybe, you don't want to necessarily give them anything reinforcing because then you're reinforcing the anger and the aggression. They should be removed from anything, comforting, honestly. They need to learn how to comfort themselves. And then, you work through those behaviors in a different setting. So one thing that we learned from this child's aggression is that he wants a tangible and he needs to learn to accept the word no. We have to go through a no program, accepting no. No, you can't have this right now, but you can work for it. And so it's really kind of a no and a wait program at the same time. So depending on what the reason for the aggression is, we set up strategies because every level of aggression is a form of communication. That's super important for me to talk about and for everyone to understand. If your child or teen, or if an adult who aggresses in any way, it's always a form of communication. It's always something that they're trying to communicate at that moment. And, it could just be, I am super angry right now, or I am super frustrated. I am super overwhelmed. You're not giving me what I want. I want this, or I want to escape this. That's another reason, is to escape the current situation, right? They feel too overwhelmed. They want to hide and they aggress because the person in front of them is just the person. That's the go-to. That if they aggress towards that person, maybe that person will back up and leave them alone. So these people have learned that aggression gets them what they want. And now we need to help them unlearn that behavior and help them cope with the reason for their aggression in a different way. And so we come up with replacement behaviors, okay, and replacement skills that we can work on. So it all depends on the person. This Facebook user says, I went for walks when I got stressed out. Walks are amazing. Walks, especially outside when it's beautiful out and the sun is shining, can do wonders, okay? So in the classroom, we don't always have that option, but we may go take a walk in the hallway, or we may take a walk in the building around some of the hallways just to get out of the classroom for a moment. And we've actually taught many of our students to say, walk with me. And that's a coping mechanism to help them de-stress. So absolutely, walks are amazing. They can be very helpful. Anything that helps you de-stress, even stress balls or putty, walking, listening to your favorite music, listening to calming music, laying down. We let our students lay down on the floor. Some of them love the floor. And we also say those are our sensory kiddos down there on the floor, because the hard floor, it's not carpeted in the classroom. It's not carpeted. It is a hard floor that they are laying down. But what do they get from the floor? What do we learn about that behavior? We learn that that child is getting input to every part of his body, right? When you're laying in your bed, you feel so comfortable, you're ready to go to sleep because you have comfort to your whole body. Your legs, your arms, your back, your head is comfortable, right? That's what helps us sleep. When you're laying on the floor, you may not get that comfort level, but for some kiddos, they want to feel that hard feeling against their whole body. When we're standing on the floor, the only input we get is our feet. Our feet get the input every step that we take, okay? And that could be very helpful for some. But for some kiddos who need to feel different parts of their body, they need pressure on different parts of their body. Those are the kiddos that love squeezes and hugs and what we call body socks, where they have to literally get wrapped inside of it, weighted blankets. Those are the kiddos that want to be on the floor because they can get input to their bodies, to every part of their body almost, while they're laying on the floor. And sometimes it's really hard to get them up. We have to, I have this for you, stand up, to get them, because the floor itself is so motivating. And it's more motivating on the floor than it is at the table for some of our kiddos. And so we need to redirect them off the floor. It's time to get up. It's time to go to gym. And we have to say, we have to entice them. That's when we pull out a promise procedure. I have this for you, stand up. And if that thing that I have in my hand is reinforcing enough, they'll stand up. They'll listen to that direction because they want what I have. So that's one of the ways that we, get our kiddos redirected. We teach them to listen to our directions, which is so important, not just in school, but at home as well. It is so important for your kiddo to follow directions and follow routines and not just get to do whatever they want to do, right? Because that's not reality. We don't all get to do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. It's their world and we just live in it. No, that's not okay. And, you may not want your kiddo to tantrum or get aggressive. And so you want to give them everything and make them happy, but it just sets them up for disaster. They need to learn that that's not reality, and they are going to have to do other things besides just stim all day and lay on the floor or be on YouTube all day long or any of those things. Those things are not reality, okay? And if they are, that means that child never learns any skills, never learns to have a job, even if it's a simple job like bagging groceries in the supermarket. They never go to a group home and learn daily living skills. They never learn to communicate fully. They never, learn anything if you don't push them. Okay, so it's super important to have a give and take, to have children who are learning skills at home as well as at school. And, we get them to listen to us by using their highest reinforcing items, the things that they love, their favorites. Oh, I talked a lot today and a little bit of a tangent. I don't have more people commenting. So I go on and on when I don't see a comment or a question about all of these things that I am very knowledgeable about, which is sensory processing disorder, working on behaviors, working on children following directions, working on daily living skills, all of it. I've done all of it over the last 13 years with babies as young as 16 months and as old as 21. I worked with a 21-year-old and helped him learn how to shave and ride on an able ride bus so he could go to work. So that's the highest, the highest level is like this travel training and, daily living skills that have to do with hygiene for a man who grows a beard and needs to learn how to shave every day to keep, if he didn't want to have a beard. So it's too itchy for his face. And so he had to learn how to shave. And we were teaching him how to shave and how to shower, honestly. He was in the shower in a bathing suit. And we had to teach him how to shower because mom kept telling him all the steps. And I had to keep telling mom, he is going to outlive you one day. You're not going to be with him forever in the bathroom telling him what to wash. He's 21 now. He needs to learn how to wash himself. It's so important for you to back up and give your child the independence that they need for all of these skills. So we try to get them to the highest level so that they could be functioning adults one day because we know they're going to outlive us, right? And that's something that, might sound really morbid, but it's important. It's something that's enlightening for a lot of parents if they don't really think like that. You don't want them in a group home one day where someone else is going to have to wipe their backside because they never learned how to wipe themselves, right? Or that's just an example, but it's important to go through these skills, okay? And to teach your children, and they can be taught. They can be taught all of these different wonderful things. Okay. Well, I don't have any more comments coming in. I wonder if the comments froze. I really hope not. If they did for some reason and comments are coming through that I did not see, I will check them in all the different groups and I will respond to you there. Let's see. I just was checking over. It's hard for me to check all the different spots now because I'm streaming live from all the different places, but I will answer questions if you catch the live later on and you want to comment. You can always use WQA in any hashtag WQA in any of the posts in any of my groups, and I will be alerted to those hashtags so that I can see your concerns and questions through the week. And I'll be bringing more solutions and strategies to you next week. I go live every Wednesday. Again, my name is Kathy Flynn from my platform, Autistic and Thriving, and from the autism community, where they have helped me shine as an expert. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I will say sayonara, everyone, and I will see you next week. If you have any questions with what I talked about today, you can ask me, you can private message me, you can comment on the live, and you can ask me and I will be responding. All right, see you next week. Until then, until next Wednesday, take care. Thank you. Thank you for staying on. So many of you are still here just listening to me rant. Next time, if you have specific questions, definitely ask, and I will be sure to answer them. But I do like to, when I give solutions to some people, I like to also be a little bit general and also relay it back to what I know in my own classroom and with my own children, just to make it relatable and help you understand my expertise and where I'm coming from and what we've tried and what we haven't tried. So, I will always try to do that as well to help as many people as possible. All right. Bye, guys. See you next week.